Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. In this video, I would like to share with you the ancient Jewish calendar or Hebrew calendar according to the book of Enoch and Dead Sea Scrolls. There is a lot of confusion about this calendar amongst the Jewish population, about amongst the Christian population. There's a lot of studies, a lot of good work that has happened about this calendar. But this is a very interesting calendar, and I'm hoping that this video will be useful not only for the true believers who believe in the Creator, in our Creator, but also for those believers amongst the Jews and Christians who really want to follow the calendar of our Creator, the one who created the heavens and the earth, the sun, the moon, and everything that is in our world. I think they would benefit from this, and hopefully this will clear a lot of confusion that they might have about this calendar. Having said that, I'm not going to go through the book of Enoch or Dead Sea Scrolls. You can do your own research, or if I have to, I will at some point, but definitely not in this video because obviously that would be a very lengthy video. I will go through it in a brief manner. Hopefully, you will have a very good understanding of this calendar after this conversation. Okay, if you watched the previous video, everything is literally the same thing. We have 4 seasons. We have season 1, season 2, season 3, and season 4, as we discussed before. Very briefly, I'm going to go over the structure of each month in every season. So for those who might not have watched the previous video. So season 1 is the season of spring, and all the months, as you know, they all have 30 days. It's the exact same in Dead Sea Scrolls, the exact same in the book of Enoch as well. And just so you know, some of you might wonder what Dead Sea Scrolls is. It's the oldest collection of biblical manuscript of the Old Testament that has ever been discovered. So it's really the most ancient one that exists, and it's a collection of very valuable information. So again, the days, as you can see, they are all 30 days over there as well, just like the Quran mentions as well. And then you still have that summer day, that one day for summer solstice in the spring. So the total for the season turns out to be 91 days, as I mentioned here. Then you go to the season of summer, the second season of the year starts, and then all the months again are 30 days, as you can see. And then you will have one seasonal day, which in this case will be fall autumn day for fall equinox. Again, total for the entire season, for the second season, will be 91 days. And for the calendar, for the combination of the two seasons in the calendar, that would be 182 days. The third season starts, that's going to be fall or autumn. Again, the same thing. All 3 months are going to be 30 days, and you have one day, a winter day for winter solstice. So, the total for the entire season would be 91 days. And up until now, we're going to have 273 days in the calendar. Then your fourth and last season, which is going to be winter, starts again. 30 days for all 3 months, and then one day for the spring, which will be our spring day, or for spring equinox, that is accounted for here. So total for this season, 91 day, and the total so far is going to be 364 days. So for those of you who have did not watch the previous video, I highly recommend that you should watch that so that you can understand the variation of the night and day. اختلاف اللیل و النهار. So these seasonal days, such as the summer day for summer solstice, or fall autumn day for fall equinox, or winter day for winter solstice, or spring day for spring equinox, are accounting for that variation of the night and day. And what do we mean by that? It means the length of the day starting at March equinox, the equal day, equal night, the days become longer up until we get to summer solstice. This is the longest day, shortest night. And starting here, the days become shorter and nights become longer up until we get to fall equinox, when the day and night have equal length of time again. And then at this point, we are going to have a longer day, longer nights and shorter days. And this keeps going. It's kind of this is plays across all seasons, and that's the variations of days and nights, and that's that we have to account for. Okay, so we have 364 days here. And that's, if you do a little bit of research about Enoch calendars, they call it a 364-day calendar. So this is where a lot of those people who do research in the scripture, they have not been able to determine how this calendar has to be set up from here. So I really encourage you, if you are a Christian, if you are a Jew, and if you have read Dead Sea Scrolls or the Book of Enoch and are familiar with them, I'm hoping that this video will answer all your questions about this calendar. Okay, so the days we need to account for here at this point is the 365th day of the year. As you know, the year has 365.25 in it. So if you don't account for 365th day, the calendar over the years is going to not keep track of the seasons accurately. So the seasons will start becoming messed up, and so summer is going to start happening in winter, winter is going to happen, so it's going to mess up the calendar just like the lunar calendar does, right? So that's why that needs to be accounted for. So in this calendar, the way you account for 365th day is by adding a week or 7 days every 7th year. And that's what it used to be called, or if you read the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Old Testament, it's a Shabbat year. It means every 7 days. Everything is a multiple of 7. So basically, rather than adding the day in that year, you wait for 7 days and you add you wait for 7 years, and then you add a week or a 7-day period at the seventh year, right at the 7th year, and basically 1 day for each year, because remember we have 365 days. So basically you wait 7 days, 1 day for each year, and at the 7th year you add a week, and the 7th year is called a Shabbat year. So it's a Shabbat year. And then you have to also account for 0.25 of a day, right? Otherwise, again, the calendar gradually will shift. So every 4 years that passes, that 0.25 days, if you multiply it by 2, that becomes equal to 1 day. So every 4 years that passes. Now, if you wait 4 years, so basically 7 multiplies by 4 becomes 28. So after 28 years, you can actually add a period of 7 days to calendar, or basically a week, right? So you add 7 days or a week to calendar after 28 years. So basically, another week or 7 days is added every fourth Shabbat year, which would be every 28th year. I know this might sound confusing, but it really isn't. It's very simple. Everything is a multiple of 7. Remember, 7 is a very important number in the book of creation. A week is 7 days, correct? Ramadan is the 7th month of the year. World was created in 6 days, and God, the creator, our creator, sat on the throne on the 7th days. So there's 7 heavens and 7 earth. So number 7 is very, very significant in the book of creation. And you can imagine that our creator, who created the world in 7 days and on 7, so he has included this number in the calendar. And that's why we have all these multiples of 7. So some of you might ask, what is the point of this calendar? Well, as I mentioned, number of weeks in this calendar is always multiples of 7. So for example, 364 days that we talked about initially, that is equal to 52 weeks. So every Shabbat year, so every 7th year, you will have a 53rd week. Because you're adding every Shabbat year or every 7th year, you're adding a week, so you will have 53rd week every Shabbat year. And every 4th Shabbat year or every 28 years, you actually will have a 54th week. And because you're adding another week every 4th Shabbat year or every 28 years. So it is definitely a little bit mathematically more complex, but it really allows for jubilees. And more important, for those of you who are familiar with what it is, of course, this is not for this is not obviously for in the Quran. You don't need to do this. But what I love about this calendar is that the dates do not change. For example, if the year starts on a Wednesday, in this calendar, the year will always start on a Wednesday. Always. Also, if you were born on a Saturday, your birthday will always be on a Saturday. So the days will always stay the same. So if you were born on a Monday, your birthday will always be on a Monday. So the basically the various occasions, the various events will always stay on the exact same day. If it's a Monday, it will be a Monday. If it's a Tuesday, it's going to be a Tuesday. So it never changes. Whereas in the other method that we discussed before, what happens is that because you're adding the leap years and because it's not a multiple of 7, those dates might change. For example, the new year, one year might start on Wednesday, the other year it might start on Tuesday. So your birthday one year might be on a Monday, but next year it might be on a Tuesday, which is okay. But in this version, in this way, in the way that the ancient Jews at the time of before Jerusalem fell to the Seleucids, and they were the ones who were responsible for changing the calendar in cooperation with the Hellenized Jews, and they changed the calendar to the lunar calendar that exists right now. So that's when this calendar was messed up. This was the original Jewish calendar according to the book of Enoch. Dead Sea Scrolls makes it very, very clear, no doubt whatsoever, that this was the original Jewish calendar. And as I have mentioned before, even during the time of Jesus Christ, uh, Jesus celebrated the Passover at a different time than the rest of the Jews. The reason was that this is the calendar that he was following compared to the rest of them. Not exactly this calendar, but the solar calendar as opposed to the lunar calendar. So Allah doesn't specify what we have to follow. Our Creator just gives us the framework. It is up to us to choose what works the best. So I just wanted you to be aware of this version and the fact that this calendar can also be utilized. And as I mentioned, the previous calendar accounts for the variations of the night and day, those 5 days, and this calendar also does the same thing. It's just a different method. If it was very, very important for ancient Jews to make sure that the days of the ceremonies happened to be on the exact same days. It was very important because they had various ceremonies that had to happen on the exact same days. We don't have that. For example, if you look at Christianity, if you look at Islam, that does not exist. That necessity does not exist. So there's no need for this kind of I wouldn't say complicated, but it's just it's definitely a different way compared to the method I shared last time. So I hope you learned a lot from this. I just and I know it sounds a little bit complicated. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. I can explain it more. This is obviously a different method, but again, as I mentioned, this is not necessary for it's just for us because unless you do those ceremonies like they did before, they have various celebrations that had to happen at certain days. So they were doing that in Christianity, in Islam. That is not that those ceremonies. We don't have those ceremonies. That's why it's not written for us. That's why Allah gives us the framework. Our Creator gives us the framework, and we just see what works best for us. And both calendars are very accurate and do a great job accounting for the seasons, accounting for the new year, and also accounting for the variations of the night and day. I hope you found this useful, and and peace and blessings to all of you.